YouTube. Today we are installing a two-way front system, fully active front system. So the installation should be quite simple in here because the old speaker is actually the door panel in Opel Corsa or Vauxhall Corsa is really easy to remove, and we only need to screw this speaker out and replace it with mid-range speakers. So these are really easy to take out and check out how the sound affects. I have actually here a beautiful mat, a dampening mat and a little bit of soft mat to avoid any leakage from the speaker directly behind the speaker. I'm using this kind of Dremel soldering iron, and it is really easy to use with a gas soldering, and it heats up really nicely, and it costs like 50 euros. So it is very good to use in core audio industry. With those electrical welding irons, this is just hands-on, much better, very easy to use. So the installation is really easy. We have screw terminals here. The brown is positive and the blue is negative. So now I am here just marking where I should cut off. So we are installing bigger speakers here later on, of bigger space for bigger speaker. But for now I will be cutting this off as the Hertz had a little bit of when the excursion went touching this panel here. So I will be cutting it out very thoroughly here, so we have room for the speaker very nicely. And it will be already opened up for the next installation. Now we have a opening for the mid-range. It sits nicely, doesn't connect into any of the speaker parts, and we just put it here and connect it back with screws onto the door panel. Now this will turn out really ugly because it's not ready yet. I will be using this piece later on to have a bigger ring here, about 8-inch possibility to install 8-inch driver here. So this will be only temporary fix, but we can hear how the speaker sounds like. So I removed from my tweeter pod this leg. I will be making a 10mm hole into the pillar from the back side here. It will be installed through here. Now the A pillar is really curved. As you can see, it is really curved, so I need to little bit curve this or cut some of this out, so it will go nicely in there, because the steel here is already really close here, so I will be probably cutting this down a little bit. Now, as I'm using the hole here, this installation is really easy. No need to make additional holes. So I will be just putting this from here, and we can connect the tweeter really nicely here. But in this side I need to little bit bend this or cut some of this off so I can fit it nicely. Now, as you can see, I am test fitting the A pillar. As you can see, we have nice about 5 to 10mm gap behind there, so I can really easily even connect it straight into A pillar or just glue it down here. So the tweeter is now connected and the wirings are here back. I made a 6mm hole here and put the cables through there, and I will be soldering them to here in these wires, so it will be okay. Actually, when I watch it from here, I don't see any legs or any wiring, and I really like this kind of industrial wirings here. The whole car is going to be with a Umbrella Corporation with this kind of Resident Evil theme, so I really like this kind of installation with the cable management here. Not everyone likes this, many wants them to be hidden, but I really like to just show them off that here is the wires for the speaker. So here we are, everything is now soldered in, and I will be using this Dremel gas welder solder to use it has a little bit hole up in there, and with that it blows a hot air from there, and I will be using it to shrink our shrinking tube. This is really handy when you have a shrinking, you can have a hot air gun and a gas welder solder at the same time. Now everything is connected, just put the wires back in and put the A-pillar back in, and it's done. Oh, we forgot this one, so we need to glue this also. So now when we are using the heat glue, what is this? A heat glue? Probably something like that. I will be putting a ton of glue underneath here, then I will be pushing it straight out and putting a beads over here and all around, so it will not only be connected underneath here into the plastic, but also connected over here. So we will cocoon it all the way here, but I will be not filming it on the video because I need third hand to use. So I would need a third hand to hold the camera. So let's find out how it turns out. So here is how it looks like. I roll the heating gun all over this place, so it is underneath there, and I pressed it down, and then I put the heated glue all around here in a really wide space, so it has more space to contact into the plastic, and just drew some drips all over on the both sides here, so it will be cocooned inside the glue. And with this technique I think it will last as long as the car will last. It is really solid there, and it is actually so thick here, so it probably will be pressed against the A-pillar, so it will be okay. Now remember not to glue these, because the connections are onto the A-pillar is through these, but now it is okay, and it is actually quite cool already, but we will wait for it to cool down completely. And now I will be doing same things what I do on this side on the other side, and after the other side is done I will be connecting this onto the A-pillar. That glue, when it's getting colder and colder, it's really easy to be crackle and get loose, so just keep it on there and wait. Go take a coffee or something like this, wait around 15 minutes it to cool down completely, then it's really solid. Now onto the next side. I will be making the next side without camera, and then we will be listening to the system. So now everything is installed, everything is in its place, and well, sorry about my car, it's a little bit dirty, it is under construction at now, and I have a lot of stuff with me. It is a work car, so when I tested this, listen, with the same setup with the Hertz, I found out that the high end opened up really nicely, but it still has some lack of airness in the sound. The Hertz was a little bit damp, and it was like how can you say it? If you are like in damp cellar or some really this kind of matte, not dark, but matte. The sound was really, I would not say flat, but really dank and really kind of muffled up a little bit even. But the mids are really good. The mids are especially good in the area where the Hertz did not sound that well. It gives a little punch and a lot of body for the sound, and I like to say that little hum from the sub side. I really like the bass songs, and really like songs with a nice sounding big fat body bass, like George Duke, It's On. It is really good song. Some of Toto songs, and actually I have this Spotify playlist where I have all the test songs. It is called Tonnin Sorsa. You can see the text there. You can search it from the Spotify. It's I have 600 some followers here, and here is these test songs I like to listen. Flight of the Cosmic Hippo has a really good, nice bass sound and body in the song, and one I really like to test is Bury Me Not on the Lone Prairie from the game Red Dead Redemption. It is a really good song, and the sound is really nice. Very good to test out the male voice of the songs. And one of the very difficult ones for the subwoofer, I think it was Invalid Path. Yes, Invalid Path is really good for the sub side. And here is a lot of Finnish songs also. Very good Finnish songs like the Seminaariman mieslaulaja Taina. This song is really good song for test your system. And let's just silence it up a little bit, and then I have here this really good from Jim Keltner, basic drum free improvisation. It is especially very good song to listen in this car right now, and you can adjust your subwoofer migration into the mids with that song really nicely. But more on the mids. The mids are beefy, much beefier, and gives a it crosses out when I have the X-overs not set correctly now, but it crosses out. It needs to go a little bit higher, and I should open it up, but for now the sound was really improved. I'm just using a Alpine head unit here. It has a amplifier size of my thumb, even smaller, so it is a really good reference how good you can get your car to sound like. Now next in here I will be testing a little bit more, listening a little bit more, and opening up the crossovers to check out how good I get the front setup now for with this setup before I put the amplifier in and use a external DSP. This head unit has a DSP, so you can get really nice stereo image with this this setup. So let me just next test it out. So far so good, everything is set up and everything is playing nicely. Now what I did, I actually opened a little bit of the crossover at the mid highs of the mid, it now gives, it had a little bit of humming noise at the drum bass section, a little bit of we say in Finnish kumina, but I don't actually know what it is in English. It had some kind of vibration, little bit of that, like a banging on a barrel or something like that. It did not sound really well, but when I a little bit opened it up and had tightened the crossover there, a bigger slope there, actually I think it's now 12 or 18 dBs, so it turned out really great. The mids go really low. I tested about 25 Hertz the slope, but it is just too low for mids. But hey, there was some bass, there was really good bass. Actually I found some vibration on my doors, what I have never felt in with the Hertz DSK. So mids turned up to be really good. They were before I set the settings, they were really good, and now they are even better. Now with the tweeters, I had a -9 dB on the lower end of the tweeters to get rid of those 6 and 7 Hertz S sounds. It is really annoying to me. I have a heartburns when I listen to a car that has those noises coming out from the car, and it is really hard to audio equipment to rule it out. But with this I managed to drop down the slope like down to 8 to 6 kilohertz and remove the -9 dB attenuation at the lower section of the tweeters, and oh boy, it did really it sounded really good. And it is actually now where the S sound comes, like in Kate Melia 9 Million Bicycles song, the Kate's voice has this very distinct noise. It comes
but it is not painful. With a Hertz DSK, it was so painful. I really, it gave me instant heartburns. So the tweeters went from a little bit better to a much better, with a wider range of sound coming out from them, and it sounds now really nice. Now actually this Alpine head unit has the DSP in it, but I managed only to get like a tweeters are a little bit on the right and the mids are a little bit on the left, so the stereo image is not really straight in the front end, but the bass and everything comes from the windshield, so it sounds really nice. But I really now need a external DSP. Now I have a Audison Beat Nova, which I will be installing in this car, and also a Autostudio reference 30 years anniversary edition amplifier, which I will be installing because the head unit has this really small amplifier in it. Now I found out now that it sounds really good at lower volumes, and when I crank it up, it starts to, well, it goes louder, but it loses the body of the sound. So that tells me that the dampening factor on the Alpine head unit goes away. It works with lower volume, but with higher volume it just generates a lot of sound, but not that much of a body into the sound. And actually I really need to lower down the tweeters, like the 2 to 3 dBs, lower the tweeters, because when I now crank it up, the mids want to go louder, but the tweeters are like, no, not really. So I really need to have this kind of little bit of adjustment, but then I need the external DSP to have that. So on the next video, probably on the next video, I will be installing a amplifier and a DSP. Now I have these Opel Corsa demo build videos mostly in Finnish, but I hope I have the time soon. No, but sometime I will be making these videos in English also. I will be dubbing them over or making subtitles for you English viewers. But this front end installation was really easy to make, as I can make the other door in Finnish and the other door in English, so it is easy to cut and edit the video. So hopefully you like it. If you want to know anything more about DSPs or this kind of setups, I will be explaining to you more happily. I actually have a front speakers, like from Alpine head unit, front speaker wirings go into tweeters, and the mids has been polarized other way. And it goes into mids. So that way, when you have a 12 dB crossovers, you need to have the mids in the other phase than the tweeter, so they align and work really well together. So I know that was really hard to me to explain. Hopefully you understand that. But I will be making more videos of how to set up and set up DSPs and this kind of stuff in English also. Now, like if you like, dislike if you dislike, and leave a comment about the setup. How does it look like, and what do you think about this kind of two-way crossover, two-way fully active front with a just only using a head unit. Now the tweeters look like this. I don't know if I explain it to you. And the tweeters look like this. I have removed the grill from over the tweeter and made this nice little beauty panel here, and actually my little hands painted them red. It has some defects here and there, but it looks okay to my eye, and I really like how they turned out. Actually that tweeter looks like that it is like 1 or 2 centimeters higher than this tweeter, but I measured it from here, so it actually is at the same height, because behind the A-pillar was a this button that goes into A-pillar, so I could not set the tweeter at the same level the old tweeter was. Now actually now when I look, it really looks like it's halfway more higher this side than this side, but probably I will be having I can some way adjust the A-pillars to make them even and sounding really nice. Now thanks you for watching, and we see you on the next video. Bye bye!